Have you ever walked into a room and immediately started editing yourself? Not because you didn't have something to say, but because everyone else just seemed louder, bolder, more certain. So you held back, not out of fear, but out of doubt. Maybe I'm just not what leadership looks like. If you've ever felt like your quietness was a flaw to fix, if you've been told to speak up more or show more energy, and you started believing you had to become someone else to be taken seriously, this story is for you. Let me tell you about Eli, someone who tried for years to become more confident, only to discover that confidence wasn't what he was missing. What he needed was permission to lead as himself. Eli was the kind of person most people overlook, and not because he lacked skill, far from it. He noticed things others missed, connected dots no one else saw. But in a team full of big energy and fast talk, Eli always felt misplaced. He wasn't the one cracking jokes or commanding attention. He was the one quietly fixing the mess no one realized was about to happen. Still, in a room full of volume and charisma, silence starts to feel like failure. So Eli made a decision. He learned to be more confident. He joined communication workshops, took notes on how his manager told stories, practiced being more dynamic. He rehearsed eye contact, firm tone, open gestures, all of it. He kept telling himself, if I want to lead, I need to fix this part of me. But every time he stepped into that version of himself, something didn't sit right. His body tensed, his words felt forced, and by the end of the day, he was drained, not from work, but from constantly editing himself. One night, after another long day of trying to perform, he slumped onto his couch and thought, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I'll always be the one behind the scenes. It wasn't dramatic, just a quiet resignation, the kind that settles in when you've tried and still feel like you're losing ground. But then something shifted. In a one-to-one, a senior leader looked at him and said, you don't talk just to fill the room, but when you do speak, the conversation changes. It wasn't meant to be profound, but for Eli, it was like someone flipped a switch. Wait, what? He'd spent so long assuming he was too quiet, too careful. But here was someone he respected, saying his restraint was strength. The words stayed with him. All evening, all weekend. What if the very thing I've been trying to fix is the thing that actually works? So Eli made a different kind of shift. He stopped chasing impressive and started studying himself instead. What kinds of work made him feel strong? What feedback made him feel seen? What moments brought ease instead of tension? He started writing those down, not for performance, just for clarity. He noticed something. When he was solving complex systems, guiding stuck teams, or calming chaos with a well-timed observation, he felt steady, and others responded. He began leading small internal projects, not the flashy ones, the ones that needed thoughtfulness. He showed up with quiet clarity, not bravado. Most people noticed, but not everyone. In one meeting, a colleague whispered after, "Great work, but next time, just add a bit more energy, you know." Eli smiled politely, but this time he didn't internalize it, because now he knew the difference between feedback and noise. Then a new leadership role opened up. It had all the responsibilities Eli loved: systems, strategy, stability. But still, he hovered over the application link, hesitating. They'll probably want someone louder, someone who commands a room. He almost closed the tab, almost convinced himself to wait for next time. But then he remembered, you don't talk just to fill the room. But when you do, he hit submit. Weeks later, Eli stood in front of a new team. His first big presentation. He wasn't animated. He was clear, intentional. He laid out the roadmap, invited questions, created space for reflection. And after he finished, someone said, "That was the first time I actually understood where we're headed." It wasn't applause, it was something better: clarity. Eli got the role, but more than that, he got himself back. He no longer walked into rooms trying to match the loudest voice. He walked in grounded in his own. Today, when new team members ask him how to be more confident, he doesn't send them to a workshop. He asks, "When do you feel most like yourself?" Start there. And just last week, he noticed a young analyst, sharp, observant, quiet, reminded him of someone. So after the meeting, Eli pulled him aside and said, You don't talk just to fill the room, but when you speak, it lands. He smiled as he walked away, knowing that sometimes the smallest words carry the greatest weight. So if you're listening to this and wondering whether you need to change yourself to fit in, maybe you don't. Maybe confidence doesn't sound like a roar. Maybe it sounds like you, finally trusting your own voice. Sometimes the quietest people carry the clearest signals, and all it takes is finally listening to yourself. Thanks for being here. See you next time.